Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gaming News, where we discuss all things within the gaming industry. And today, I am just going to cover Twitch, because Twitch has had one hell of a week. And this will perhaps put more into perspective for some of you that may have watched the previous video that I released talking about my streaming career and Twitch. And some of what I'm about to cover today also contributes to the reasons as to why I made that earlier video. So if you want more information about the exact details as to why I said what I said, on top of everything else that I said in that 40-minute video, it should be very obvious as to my reasoning behind my decision. So, with that said, let's get started on the only topic of the day. Now, the first thing that I want to cover is really the only good thing for everything that I have to say. And that's not great. So if you're looking for a nice, relaxing gaming news video, stop after this first story because the rest of it is garbage. It's awful, and I don't know what else to preface it with. Anyways, on the 16th of September, I know a little bit further back than I normally go for a weekly video, but I felt that there needed to be something mildly positive in this video, and that is an article on Game Industry Biz written by Jeffrey Rousseau talking about revenue and viewership pulled in by Twitch during the month of August. Now, in this, he says, during August, Twitch got over its 2-month hump of 1.7 billion hours viewed, according to Stream Elements and Rainmaker.gg's monthly State of the Stream report. Stream Elements, if you're not familiar, is a very popular and widely used bot on Twitch. And Rainmaker.gg is an analytics platform that gives you a lot more information than what Twitch gives you about how many viewers you have, where they're coming from, what kind of income you're making per stream, per hour. Just analytics to make informed business decisions. And Rainmaker.gg is incredibly important for people who are looking to improve their quality of streaming and videos in general. There's a number of different analytics tools that streamers can use or content creators can use, like TubeBuddy for YouTube statistics. It will do a crap ton of things for you as well. In fact, I've got TubeBuddy installed so that I can see more statistics than what YouTube offers. And these analytics are typically used by streamers and content creators when they have a higher volume of viewership. They're not as important when you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of people to your stream or your content, because you're not really going to be able to build a business off of 5 views. You're only really going to amplify your business if you're going from 100 to 500 or 1,000 to 5,000. So you'll have a bigger base of analysis for these statistics to work. So if you look at things like, you as a business owner are going to only keep about 1/10 of the people that you reach out to. Statistically, that means that if you have 1,000+ people who are looking at your content or follow you, only about 10 of those people, yes, I know, it's sad, 10 of those people will actually pay more attention to your content and everything that you do. And then, of course, it goes like a 10th down from there, that you will have one person out of every 10 that will be a super fan, a person who really wants to see you succeed and do anything that they can to make sure that you get what you're looking for. Because again, you're breeding positive energy, and ideally that will come back to you the more positive energy you exude. And like, the statistics have been used in a number of places, and I'm sure you could probably look it up if you're interested, but Rainmaker is one of those analytics programs that you can use to improve your quality of content creation or streaming. Anyways, the streaming service posted 1.9 billion hours watched in the month of July. Now, keep in mind that we're also at a point in the pandemic where it has become obvious that it will be around for a long time, much like the flu, and that better things are being put out there in terms of vaccination and proper care to stave it off. But unfortunately, we are not going to get rid of that. But throughout the pandemic, there was a massive increase in viewership on Twitch and on streaming services because people were stuck at home not knowing what to do with themselves. So a lot of people turned to Twitch or turned to their streaming platforms of choice so that they would be at least somewhat entertained while things were closed or restrictions were put in or whatever it happened to be. Anyways, so in this article, they stated that during the month of Twitch, you saw The Usual Suspects among its most viewed titles, whereas on YouTube, Minecraft was the most viewed game at 21 million hours during August, and Apex Legends saw a bump of 30% in viewership hours as it became the second most watched game. And this is important because you need to know that your platform is gaining viewership, that they are doing various things to retain people. And I think that while there has been an increase in viewership, at least in August, we are now obviously in September, and people have gone back to school and people have regular jobs and that kind of thing. People are transitioning back into going into the office or going into work, and therefore are not necessarily going to be watching Twitch as much. So I think that the numbers are going to go down, but that is probably the only good thing that we have seen this week. And there's a bunch of things that I'm not going to cover because there's just too much stuff, but we're going to start with what people thought was the beginnings of something good for Twitch. And I've frequently said that Twitch will take a couple of steps forward and then 50 steps backwards in the same motion. And this week shows you exactly what I mean by this and why so many people are frustrated with Twitch. And I think you're going to see a massive shift very soon with respect to everything that happens. So we're going to start at this tweet. Twitch updated their guidelines on gambling when it comes to Twitch. Now, this stems from a multitude of different situations. The infamous CSGO betting ring that happened a few years ago that was shut down, that people were saying, hey, this is a great website, would put tons of money into it, show how much they're winning, and then got a whole bunch of people interested in this CSGO betting ring, and a lot of people put a lot of money towards it. And then it was found out that the few people who were pushing the CSGO betting were the ones that actually created and owned the website, and therefore they weren't losing or really gaining anything. They were just marketing their product to people, but didn't tell people, and therefore misrepresented their role in the company as they were using this betting scheme. And it was a massive thing, and it was shut down. And then you looked at the more recent stuff where there are a couple of people who have real gambling addictions that would basically entice people and coerce people to give him money so that he could pay off his gambling debts, quote unquote, or whatever. And instead, he would just go ahead and gamble more anyways. And there are some gambling sites that are obviously legitimate and other ones that are completely not. Now, Twitch obviously decided they were going to do something about this with the amount of people who have been affected by these bad gambling sites, and stated that we'll be making a policy update on October 18th to prohibit streaming of gambling sites that include slots, roulette, or dice games that aren't licensed either in the US or other jurisdictions that provide sufficient consumer protection. These sites will include Stake, Rollbit, DualBits, and Robet. However, we may identify others as we move forward. And the problem here is that they're not banning all gambling. They are banning certain gambling sites, the ones that aren't approved. And essentially, it comes off as not touching gambling sites that are legitimate in case maybe Twitch has some kind of kickback from any of those. But if they're regulated properly, I have no personal problems with gambling. However, there needs to be more protection for people when it comes to gambling, because it is a real problem. It is something that there is a Gamblers Anonymous, I believe, out there. And so while it looked like they were taking a huge step forward, they chose that some gambling sites they would ban, but other ones they wouldn't. And it comes off as very muddied and strange because people may not know which ones are legitimate or not. There are gambling sites that pop up all the time, just like the CSGO lotto thing that happened several years back. And to just try and move with the times when we've seen that Twitch is not exactly the fastest platform to move with the times doesn't give a lot of positive thoughts or trust in the platform. But we'll see how it goes. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing that they have decided to do this. It's just strange that they would prohibit only some of it, but not all of the gambling that is happening because of the negative effects that it has on a lot of people. And if you want to gamble, go for it. Just be mindful of what you do when you gamble. Set a limit for yourself. Only use up to that limit and then move on with your life. If you've lost, you've lost, and don't put yourself in financial dire straits just because you're hoping for that $1 million or big win. So it looked like it was a good thing, but it's really not. And then we come to the next thing, the very next thing that happened, which was a lovely blog post from Dan Clancy, the president of Twitch, talking about the subscription revenue shares and how that was going to change for partnered streamers. And this has been a topic of conversation for the last little while. Most people knew that this was coming, that there was going to be a change on the revenue shares, but we didn't know when and for how much and how they were going to treat their creators. With this blog post, they explain what they're doing, and it is not good. In fact, it is so bad that here we have an article by Paul Tassi talking about the pay cuts for top streamers, and quite literally everyone is mad about it because of how they decided to go about it. Twitch has announced on Wednesday that premium creators who have received a 70-30 subscription split in their favor will now see the split capped after the first 100,000 of earnings. After that, the split will change to 50-50, which is the standard split for non-premium or normal Twitch streamers. The changes will not go into effect until June 1st, 2023, and will not alter current Twitch contracts. So they are essentially crushing a lot of their partnered streamers, not just with this. There's something else we'll cover in a little while that will also crush people when it comes to the income they can make on Twitch. So they tried to justify it in that blog post, and I will link that below, with a number of different aspects or things. These top-tier streamers feel like they helped build Twitch's success, which Twitch even admits in the blog post, and the cuts are likely potentially to propel them to a rival like YouTube, which has a 70-30 split once their contracts are up. Non-superstar or normal streamers have been hoping that the opposite of this would happen, that the 50-50 split would be increased to 70-30 for everyone, and taxing the most successful creators is not helping them, as nothing significant changes positively for them. Which is true. If you're looking to move from affiliate streaming to partnered streaming, you would get a 70-30 split. Over time, you could renegotiate your contract to be higher in favor of the content creator that would be above the 70-30 split. Now, previously, there were some people who talked about the split for affiliates and the split for people in general and how to keep afloat. You want to at least be on par with your competitors. And if YouTube is giving a 70-30 split base with clear guidelines, then Twitch dropping basically everyone to a 50-50 split means that there's really not that much value in making partnership. And also consider that they just recently removed restrictions to stream on multiple platforms, where before you had an exclusivity to Twitch if you were an affiliate or a partner. If you played specific games or something on Twitch, you could not then turn around and stream the same game on YouTube for at least 24 hours after the fact. And this was to try and retain their people. But they got rid of that exclusivity contract only recently. And now they're dropping the pay to be 50-50. They're clearly pushing people away so that they can restructure something, because they did talk about how they wanted to make it more fair, quote unquote, for the partners by restructuring the system, because there are a lot more partnered streamers now on Twitch than there used to be. So they have to think about their finances. And in a way it makes sense, but it's really bad for the creator. And you're not giving a lot of time for people to really compensate. Anyways, there's a couple of other points that they make in that blog post. This new focus on ads has everyone at all tiers upset, given that ads drive away viewers and have already become more prevalent and aggressive on Twitch recently. No one is excited to lean more heavily into showing their viewers ads. Which is true. They have pushed ads so much that the amount of time that you have to spend streaming just in order to get that higher ad revenue split is really not worthwhile, and in fact is doing more harm to streamers than it is good. And in fact, to try and keep people into your stream when there's constant ads going however often they're going, just so you don't have the pre-roll ads, is ridiculous. And the fact that you're not really making a lot of money off of it as a content creator really doesn't help either. So they've shot themselves in the foot with this, because people have regularly stated, if you want us to run ads on our channel, make it at least somewhat attractive for us to do so. There's different ways you can do it. Television already has this figured out. You can be watching a show and an ad will pop up where it slightly shrinks the screen and has the ad on the bottom and a little bit on the side. It doesn't interrupt the program. You can still watch the program without those ads being plastered completely over top of everything and taking over the audio as well. And so you miss important conversations or answers to questions that you were looking for about the video game or the thing that you happen to be watching on Twitch. And nothing is more prohibitive than that. At least with YouTube, it pauses the content, plays the ad for however long, which often you can skip, and then you pick up where you left off. And even if they were mid-word, mid-sentence, you can rewind the video just a little bit so that you can get full context in case you missed or forgot what the lead-up was before the ad even started. Twitch has not helped their creators when it comes to ads, and it's very clear to people that they are focused on money for them first, and they don't give a fuck about their creators. And there's multiple reasons why that is true. And through all of this, everyone is continually reminded that Amazon, the trillion-dollar megacorp, owns Twitch, so these cuts feel unnecessary. Even if no doubt the mandate from the top is that Twitch itself needs to become more profitable and can't simply be subsidized by Amazon. And that is the reality of it. Twitch is currently owned by Amazon, and Amazon has regularly stated that they are not going to get involved in how Twitch runs its business. They're allowing Twitch to do whatever, but at some point the buck is going to stop and Amazon is going to want to make more money. And Twitch just hasn't figured out a way to do this properly. Even if we scream it to them, they still haven't figured it out. Now, if we want to talk about backlash, if you have the capabilities of withstanding a lot of profanity, you can watch Angry Joe's video about the 70-30 split and how they expect people to be happy with the decision. And I watched this entire video, and he's not wrong. Amazon makes so much money hand over fist, and Twitch is struggling, and Amazon does not want to step in right now and help Twitch out or give them any ideas or anything like that. They want Twitch to make money, and Twitch is doing, quote, whatever they can to do that, and they do that by sacrificing their content creators. And unfortunately, no level of ads are going to help the platform if you do not have people streaming to your platform, because with all of the things that have happened this week, if more people aren't moving away from Twitch at this point, I'd be damn surprised. And I think Twitch might be able to survive the reckoning, but I don't have high hopes for it. Anyways, there is a lot more to cover. I stumbled across a tweet from earlier today, and this is slightly out of order, but it just goes to show you how much Twitch does not care about its creators. You know how if you subscribe to a channel, your affiliate streamers are going to get the 50% of the amount that is paid. So for Canada, or at least for the US, it's $4.99, so you would get $2.49 or $2.50 per subscriber. Well, you would actually make more money when people give bits to the streamer, and each bit is a penny. And this was something that was started on mobile gaming, where you could support your favorite people by donating, 10 cents at a time or $1 at a time or something like that, because they didn't have a credit card or another way in order to support their streamers. And there were sites you could go to where you could earn a bunch of bits, and those bits you can distribute between the favorite content creators and streamers that people would be watching. Well, Twitch brought out bits a few years back to do the same thing as what mobile gaming would do. And recently, they have seemingly changed that. So a tweet from earlier on Friday the 23rd, I saw this, where this streamer has said, "I am livid, Twitch. After I try to educate people and express how bits are the most beneficial form of support for a streamer, 2 days later you remove the ability for some viewers to donate bits on my stream and now have to put the super cheer on without my knowledge. You can see here that bits give the creator the full amount because the donor pays the fee up front. With Super Cheer, Twitch is taking a portion of the money that would otherwise go to the creator if it were bits." And this is the breakdown. So before, if it was 100 bits that you were donating, it would cost the person giving the bits $1.40, because that would be 40 more bits technically that you're paying up front to give that 100 bits. Twitch would only receive the 40 cents out of that, and the creator would make the $1. And this is fairly steady when you look at the numbers going up. But with the Super Cheer that goes through Xsolla, which most people forgot that this is how things are done when it comes to payment. So if you had an issue with certain things through Twitch for subscriptions, you actually need to talk to Xsolla, because they're the ones that run everything. So it's not even Twitch that runs that system. If you're subscribing to people and you need to cancel and there's an issue, you talk to Xsolla. And according to the website, they have a 5% flat fee. So if they tip $1, you have the 5% fee that's taken off. So there's the 95 cents. Twitch will make 19 cents out of that. The creator gets 76 cents. Same amount. You start with 100 bits effectively, or Super Cheer as it is at this point, and you make less than you did the way you did before, because all of the fees were calculated up front. This is nasty that they have decided to change the system. I do not know if this is Twitch-wide. I do not know how many people this will affect, but the fact that no one has covered this, and I just happened to come across this tweet. I don't know how accurate or valid this is right at this moment, but if this is true, Twitch can die in a fire. I'm sorry. We're still only halfway through the shit that we have to cover. Now, going back to the ads. Let's talk about that. On the 21st, Twitch released yet another blog post that states, "We tackle the topic that's been at the forefront of the community for quite some time, which is the revenue split. We also provide a related update around monetization for a subset of partners." So let's read it. And Asmergold tweeted, "Let's cut the bullshit. Excessive ads are killing Twitch. You go to a stream and it says 1 of 6 ads played. You go to another tab and come back and the video player has crashed, or it will play more ads. Like if you've ever clicked off a stream because of too many ads." And he's not wrong. There are countless times where something has gone wrong with a stream, particularly with their ad system, that will occasionally break browsers. Back when they first implemented ads over top of streams that were external, this is where the rise of ad blockers came in. They found a way to embed the ads into the stream so that you could no longer use ad blocks to get around some of this content. So they wisened up to that. However, I was not at a good point, because there were a number of people like myself who would go into our favorite streams and would find that if a run of 5 ads occurred on a stream, they would often break and crash the browser, and I would have to reload the stream, which would give me another 5 ads, and it would freeze again. And if on the 3rd time that I refreshed the page, the ad broke the stream, I left. Because at that point, there is no reason to be in a stream if your ads are breaking the platform so hard that your people, your supporters, can't even be there. So why would we continue to be on the platform if you can't even figure out how to do ads properly in a way that doesn't piss off creators and also doesn't break your platform? If your whole point was to make money off of these ads, you better damn well have figured out the system so it doesn't break the goddamn browser. If Asmergold has noticed this, you fucked up colossally. Really, that's just the reality. But it gets better. Amidst all of this, Bloomberg released an article that is horrifying. And this is the point where I'm going to throw in a bit of a content warning about children and predators, because that's what we're about to walk into. And Celia D'Anastasio writes for Bloomberg, and she posted this. "Our deep dive investigation reveals widespread child predation on Twitch. Bloomberg has analyzed thousands of accounts that systemically find and follow apparent kids and preteen streaming. Up to 279,000 were targeted. My story." Unfortunately, I am not subscribed to Bloomberg, so I cannot read this article, and I can only assume what is in this particular article, because she does a lot of really good investigative reporting for the most part, and probably has a ton of evidence to back up her claim. Now, in the replies, I came across a person who has known about this for quite some time and has indicated that Twitch knew that this was happening. And this is the person who said, "Pay no attention to the massive child grooming that was just exposed on Twitch. We have made an unpopular decision about sub-revenue, also Pokimane or something. I'm not sure exactly what the Pokimane thing is unless it has to do with the gambling and um, sexual assault and that whole situation, which is a completely other thing that I'm not going to get into. And again, all of this has happened in the last week or two at best. So people are focused more on the revenue split than they are on the illegal grooming ring that has been exposed on Twitch. And in fact, if you look up other articles, you're not going to find very many that refer to this. And that is unfortunate because it seems like Twitch is sweeping it under the rug. The other day, Zach Bussey stated on stream that they released a blog post related to this that no one knew about because it wasn't even advertised. So on safety.twitch.tv, they have this article, Our Work to Combat Online Grooming. And this just talks about how it lives on online spaces, keeping children under 13 years of age off of Twitch and protecting those that find their way onto our service. Yes, you can be 13 or up to be on Twitch. That is why moderators do not like people talking about their age on Twitch, because then they have to verify your age if people suspect you to be under the age of 13. Gone are the days where we looked at the rule in the terms of service that says you can use the platform if you're under the age of 13, but only with parental guidance. And unfortunately, there is no way to prove that either. So when we talk about why we're pissed off at Twitch, these are among the reasons as to why we are pissed off. And then they talk a little bit preventing harm and catching predators online. And again, it doesn't really tell you a lot except that they're conducting investigations on Twitch and they work with law enforcement, with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and others to prevent some of the worst real-world harms from happening and being shared online. And that everything is always evolving, and trying to find a solution to this problem is not as easy as it looks, because you're talking about the World Wide Web, and you're talking about legal issues that do not mean they're legal issues in other countries. And unfortunately, that is true. What is not legal here may not be the same in another country. And it is difficult to find a happy balance when it comes to an online streaming platform that reaches everywhere in the world, because, again, there is not enough resources to make it easy to enforce things like this. Now, remember how a tweet ago there was a woman who said never mind about the child ring that is going on behind closed doors? Well, she decided to put together a twit longer. It is sad and unfortunate, and I completely understand why she would put out this twit longer. And I'm only going to cover the first couple of paragraphs because we're long enough as it is and there's still a couple more things to go. So she put the end. Yesterday, Bloomberg released an expose on a coordinated pedophile child grooming ring operating on Twitch. I brought attention to this months ago after being tipped off by someone who was looking into it. The criminals were organizing in forums and Discord servers to actively seek out channels where young children, many of whom appear to be under 13, were live streaming. Once they found one, the predators would flood the channel, asking the kids to do dares, which include TikTok dances or putting a specific body part in frame of the camera. They'd move from there to asking the kids to taking off clothing and even go to the bathroom and taking pictures. Many of them tried to route the kids into DMs. A girl on one channel looked so much like my 5-year-old daughter that I was completely taken aback. I contacted FBI cyber tips, as did the other person. I also filed Twitch reports on the channels I could identify as being exploited. I did several streams about it, as well as tweeting to Twitch and adding this issue into our user voice petition, which we were championing to get eyes on the child predator problem that is rampant on Twitch. The problem I have been fighting with my platform very publicly for 3 years. Like usual, I tried my best to amplify my own tiny voice with disappointing results. Twitch deleted the user voice petition and I was silenced again. I was so happy to see the Bloomberg article exposing this ring come out, but I soon became horrified when I realized that no one was even paying attention. Twitch had conveniently banned gambling and issued a controversial decision regarding sub-revenue split the very same day. As a result, none of the loudest voices amplified the child grooming ring. Once again, our small voices were silenced in an avalanche of shiny objects. This is disgusting. And if you want to know what my ultimate decision from yesterday or this morning's video about streaming and why I might leave the platform, not just for the reasons that I stated, but for reasons like this, it should be very clear why there's going to be a lot more people leaving Twitch at this point. But if that's not enough, there is actually more, and it sucks. Kotaku released an article yesterday about another awful thing to happen, and this is what I mean by Twitch just doesn't give a shit. Congressman under investigation for sex trafficking caps off Twitch's worst week ever. And we're gonna go through this. First, Amazon-owned Twitch was ravaged by a major gambling scandal. Then it revealed a new, worse revenue split for creators because it had to charge itself too much for servers. Next, Bloomberg reported that the platform has a major problem when it comes to potential predators using it to target children. And now, Rep. Matt Gaetz, who's being investigated for human trafficking and allegedly having sex with a minor, has announced his plan to use the platform to spread his racist dog whistles. Is it Friday yet? Asked someone at Twitch. Probably. I can't even make this shit up. The articles, the tweets are all there. The YouTube videos are all there to show that Twitch is fucking up real hard right now. And in the middle of everything, Bloomberg reported that according to a study shared with it as well as its own research, a total of 1,976 users potentially targeted 279,016 children on Twitch over the span of 2 years. Every one single instance of grooming is abhorrent to us. Twitch's chief product officer, Tom Varelli, told Bloomberg, if it's valid, the data you reference demonstrates that we are not offering the level of protection we strive for yet, which is deeply upsetting. This work is vitally important to everyone at Twitch and will never stop. Unfortunately, there are other people who used to be part of Twitch or who have connections to Twitch have said that Twitch has known about this grooming happening for the last 8 years. 8 years. The news comes less than a week after the Washington Post reported that the Florida congressman asked President Trump for a pardon relating to a sex trafficking probe underway by the U.S. Justice Department. There is a quote. It goes into a lot more when it comes to politics and that kind of thing, but it really just goes to show you that Twitch is really not infallible and that they're not really paying attention to everything that's going on. I came across another article by thefatherly.com or fatherly.com, and it says 280,000 kids targeted by child predators on Twitch report claims, obviously referring to the Bloomberg report that just came out. And it asks big questions like what's going on with Twitch? How have children been impacted according to the report? And this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. That over the 2-year duration of data collection, the researcher who wrote the report noted that alleged predators on the streaming platform targeted more than 200,000 children, that hundreds of apparent predator accounts followed more than 1,000 kids, and that in July of 2022 alone, more than 650 kids per day were found by predators on Twitch. The report suggests that targeted children were enticed to perform suggestive dances or explicit acts while hundreds of Twitch users watched. Additional predatory accounts and live videos not previously found by the researchers were uncovered during reporting, suggesting the problem could be even more widespread than the data portrays. Unfortunately, that has to be true. There are websites that would restream different people on Twitch, usually women who are being suggestive often. We have seen, obviously, that there has to be a large child ring as well going on, and I can't even fathom what sites those would be, and I am definitely not looking that up. But this continually happens. This has been an ongoing problem, and there has not been enough protections in place for the children. And as much as there are good things about Twitch and about many of the content creators who just want to build a community of good people to play video games and to just make a living wage, there is also so much crap that is happening on the platform that there's not enough in the world to try and stop some of the stuff that's been happening. And Fatherly does have a couple of points for keeping children safe if you are a parent and you are on Twitch. When it comes to the internet, there is no way to keep kids 100% safe, though there is plenty that can be done to keep kids safer. This requires the use of parental controls, supervision, and honest, frequent conversations with our kids. One of the most important things you can do to help your kids be safer online is to teach them how to be responsible in their digital lives, explains Fatherly's Parents' Guide on Internet Safety. Start with talking about the internet long before your child has their own social media empire, as soon as you and your child start using the internet together. Parents should also communicate about behavior and conversations on the internet that kids should find abnormal and when they should come to you or another adult when they are concerned. And I do believe that kids can learn some good, useful, valuable things from certain content creators on Twitch, but unfortunately, streamers aren't necessarily parents. They are not going to be able to reach out to your children as much as you might be able to. And especially since streamers, it's not their responsibility necessarily. They can only do so much to try and protect the people that are using Twitch, but ultimately it relies on the parents to keep their children safe. And if there is this massive ring that has been around for so long, that doesn't bode well for how people feel about their children using Twitch. I have one final thing to talk about. I know this has been a really long video. Once again, Cecilia tweeted another article that came out only a couple of hours ago. Twitch content chief announced her departure internally the same day as Twitch's controversial revenue share news. She worked under Twitch's president, Dan Clancy, who announced the news. Sources say he is out of touch with creators and are profit-focused. I don't disagree. And with everything that we have seen this week, it really became the catalyst for what I've really been thinking about for a long time, and my releasing the video earlier about the state of streaming and financial state and some of the things that I have seen. This doesn't go away. And the fact that Twitch has to deal with all of this stuff and are so out of touch with its creators, I think the platform is really going to struggle to survive even more than they were previously. And that's why I said at the beginning of this video that the only good news was that last month they had record viewership, because that's probably going to be the only good amount of viewership that they're going to get from here on out. I know that I am going to do more streaming on YouTube and see how that goes for me. I know many other people are going to leave the platform because of this past week, and I have talked with multiple people about how they feel about the whole situation. It's not just the revenue split that is pissing people off. It's everything that Twitch has done to this point that has been completely tone deaf, that contribute to why people are leaving the platform. So, let me know what you think about any and all of the sections related to this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts, although I expect a lot of it will be really negative and perhaps even disgusted. But that is the end for today. Thank you so much for being part of the Patreon. I do try to stream a couple of times a week, and I am going to do my first couple of streams to YouTube next week, so keep an eye on the Discord for that, and I will probably tweet about it as well, and we'll see how it goes from there. Don't forget to follow me on all social media. I do these videos every single week, and I would love to hear from any of you. So, thank you so much for your time. You have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.